Has he offered to withdraw? Are they withdraw from the process?
And by the way, I'm looking at the numbers. You got a lot of people listening. I hope you don't get nervous because you got a lot of people listening to you right now, like 60 million or something. What is that number? It's crazy. It's amazing how you can see that right away. How many? What is the number? Wow. What is it?
Well,
wow.
I think in terms of people,
that's bigger than you said. You said 25, and you're much more than double that number, 25 million. I think you're going to be 60 or 70, and I guess over a period of time. Hey, I congratulate you. Do I get paid for this or not?
well.
But the former president's words were extremely slurred as he phoned in from Mar-a-Lago in front of a flattering painting of himself. Here's some of what Trump had to say.
I know Putin very well. I got along with him very well. He respected me, and it's just one of those things. And we would talk a lot about Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye. But I said, don't ever do it. Don't ever do it. You can't do it, Vladimir. You do it, it's going to be a bad day. You cannot do it. And I told him things that what I do, and he said, no way. And I said, way.
It's hardly a surprise that Elon Musk and Trump, whatever it was they were doing, was a total shambles and disaster. And thankfully, a few more people who sit in front of TV cameras and put together news items, etc., are now realizing the significant cognitive decline of the once former president of the United States of America. It's just a shame that all the attention and energy they put into tracing where President Biden's mental stability was, they didn't even use 2% to focus on the other guy who really is not, I mean, the guy is not there at all. And he keeps on doing these, what I would say, media-friendly environment interviews. He has all these sycophants who repeat one line, who insult President Biden's mental capacity and ability. I would love to see Trump, for example, right now, so we know the situation in the Middle East and Gaza is quite explosive, to say the least. I'd love to see somebody actually get Trump for an hour talking about foreign policy, with various different trouble spots and various different situations around the world.
There's a rising tide of criticism of Donald Trump from his own supporters and from some of his fellow Republicans. It reminds me of the quiet, low-voice criticisms of President Biden's cognitive ability before he was pushed out of his re-election campaign. Nobody went out in public to get him to withdraw until it was obvious he couldn't win. That's when the knives came out and Biden was hustled out the way. It is not like that with Trump, and he's not going anywhere. But there are rumblings. Not all the troops are happy. The Hill brings it together with this headline: GOP pleads with Trump to control impulses, focus on policy. The article goes through a litany of problems. Trump goes off on tangents, like fighting over crowd size. At his press conference, he went off on a helicopter ride he says he took with former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown. He's attacked allies like Georgia Governor Brian Kemp. In short, the Hill says he lacks discipline. He can't deliver a coherent message. Today in the Wall Street Journal, Jerry Baker takes Trump to task. Here's the headline: Trump is looking like a loser again. Strong stuff. He writes, by my calculation, about 1/3 of Mr. Trump's remarks fell into 3 categories: false, obtuse, or lunatic. Don't hold back, Jerry. The most intense criticism is about his language and demeanor. He used foul language to describe Kamala Harris. How on earth will he win the vital women's vote when he uses words they hate? There are loud calls to knock it off, but he's not listening. There's no way he could be removed from the ticket. It is not the same as the Biden situation. He was removed when it became clear that his party didn't trust him to be president for another 4 years. He couldn't win the election. Trump could do the job of president, but can he win? There's a growing chorus saying if he won't win, he won't win if he can't stay on message, can't focus on policy, and refuses to change his language on women. 2 weeks ago, it was Trump's election to lose. It's now an election he has to fight to win, and he's brought this on himself. Third hour of Varney starts now.
And actually, she looked very much like our great First Lady, Melania. She didn't look like Camilla. That's right. But of course, she's a beautiful woman, so we'll leave it at that, right?
More from Donald Trump's conversation with Elon Musk. At one point, Trump decided to weigh in on this. Time Magazine's recent feature, and specifically the cover artwork that pictured his opponent, Kamala Harris.
She is terrible. She's terrible. But she's getting a free ride. I saw a picture of her on Time Magazine today. She looks like the most beautiful actress ever to live. It was a drawing. And actually, she looked very much like our great First Lady, Melania. She didn't look like Camilla. That's right. But of course, she's a beautiful woman. So we'll leave it at that, right?
Okay, that's another pronunciation of her name, Camilla. Guys, what, what? There it is. This is Kamala Harris, beautifully drawn on the cover of Time Magazine.
It looks like her.
It looks like Kamala Harris. Mm-hmm. Does it look like Melania Trump?
I think he was trying to say they were both beautiful. And he's wasting time, though. But he does have a fair point that Vice President Harris is getting the greatest media honeymoon ever known to presidential politics. And I think that was his core complaint there with that cover.
I mean, look, I'm afraid to try to psychoanalyze what Donald Trump is doing here. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, I think it does kind of seem like he was trying to say it was like an overly flattering drawing of her. I don't know. But one thing it is not going to do is help him win suburban voters, swing voters. I mean, to Brad's point here, there are only so many days left in this election, and he's spending them, sort of rambling nonsense rather than making a case. So if that's what he wants to do.
He's obsessed with Time Magazine as well from the
That is true.
That you asked earlier, Casey, why they weren't prepared. I think one thing was that Republicans that I talked to expected Democrats to fight, to have a big fight about who the person to replace Biden would be, and they did not think that people would coalesce around Harris as much as they did. And so you're seeing that he's just struggling with trying to find his footing against her because they didn't expect to be facing someone who had all of the support of the party behind her.
All right, on that note.
Something else that also came to my attention during this Elon Musk, what was it? I'm not sure how you describe it, but this is really offensive. I don't know why there's not been more outrage. Doesn't matter where you are on the political divide. Laughing and sneering and almost like belittling those who are literally going to work day in and day out to provide for their families, to try and do their best, and obviously they want a decent wage for that. How can you be? I just don't understand how any person, especially the MAGAs, are literally thinking this is okay. It's not. This is not to do with fiscal policy. Oh, we'll put more money, let's say, into state benefits and less money into private expenditure and taxes and all of that. This is just sheer nastiness. It goes back to what Howard Stern once said about a lot of the, how should we say, more industrial supporters. Is that a word? Who love Trump. Do they really believe he cares for them once the cameras are off? Because this moment to me, this is so cruel. You don't do that. Well, not if you want to be a leader. I don't think so. You?
This cutter. I mean, I look at what you do. You walk in and you just say, you want to quit? They go on strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike and you say, that's okay. You're all gone. You're all gone. So every one of you is gone. And you are the greatest. You would be very good. Oh, you would love it. But, if you look at Argentina.
Oh, Willie Brown very well. In fact, I went down in a helicopter with him. We thought maybe this is the end. We were in a helicopter going to a certain location together. And it was an emergency landing. This was not a pleasant landing. And Willie was... he was a little concerned.